Hi, I'm Shonna Slayton, and I am so excited to tell you about this novel that I have called Liz and Nellie. It is based off of the true life story of Nellie Bly and Elizabeth Bisland in their race around the world in 1889 to try and beat the record set in the other novel called Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. I uncovered their adventures in some research that I was doing. I thought, how did I not know these ladies before? How did I not know this story? And so I wanted to put it into a form that was a little more accessible to today's teens, and so I took their writings that they did about their trip. Nellie Bly was a reporter for World Newspaper, and so she wrote newspaper articles about her adventures. Elizabeth Bisland was an editor with Cosmopolitan magazine, which was a very different magazine back then, and she wrote about her adventures going around the world. And so I took their writings and I mashed them together, turned them into scenes so it was more like a novel than reporting, and came up with Liz and Nellie. Now, these two women are sometimes similar and sometimes very different. They both came from difficult backgrounds. When they were both younger girls, they actually lived in wealthy families, but those families lost their wealth, and these two girls both found themselves in New York trying to make their way as writers in a world dominated by men. So they were both very plucky in what they were doing. Now, Nellie Bly, she was a little rougher around the edges than Elizabeth. Elizabeth came from the South, from a more refined background, I suppose, and it's reflected in their writings. Nellie Bly is really a writer of today. She could, you know, come in through a time machine and just take up working for, you know, blogging or doing whatever. She speaks in our language today. Elizabeth Bisland, on the other hand, she uses a lot of highfalutin words. I had to read her work with a dictionary because I didn't know a lot of the words that she used, and so I had to drop her level of sophistication, I suppose, a little bit to make it easier to read for today's audiences. We don't use quite the vocabulary that she used. I did leave a lot in there because, of course, you want to keep the flavor of her writing. She is really a beautiful writer. They both are. Nellie Bly is more down to earth. She's funny. They're both adventurous. I mean, the idea of finding out that you're going to go around the world with just an hour's, a few hours notice. Nellie Bly got like 3 days to pack and get moving, whereas Elizabeth Bisland, her story was that her editor read about Nellie's adventure, who had left that morning going east, and he read it on his way to work and thought, wow, this is a great publicity stunt. How can we get involved? And so he pulled in Elizabeth and said, I think they made a mistake sending her east. They should have sent her west to go faster because of the time of year it is, the risk of snowstorms on her way back, and the way the winds are blowing in the East China Sea. So he said, I think we can beat her. Are you up for it? Can you leave in a few hours? And she was a little reluctant at first, but he talked her into it, and she went home and told her sister who she lived with, saying, going around the world, leave tonight. And so she quickly got an outfit made. Yeah, she got an outfit made. Nellie Bly did too, but she had a few more days. But yeah, they just, you can't just go down to the store and buy an outfit, I guess, back then. I don't know. So anyway, so she set off quickly, and so I guess you could say they're both impulsive. They are willing to try new things. Going around the world at that time, they couldn't research it on the internet to find out what they were facing. They were just going and, ta-da, you're here and this is what's happening. And of course, traveling alone in those times, unchaperoned, was a big deal. I think their story is really amazing. What they were able to do as single, unchaperoned women back in the 1800s. I don't know, it's just an amazing story, and I hope you read it, and I would love to hear what you think about it. You can email me, visit my website, sign up for my newsletter. I just think it's the coolest story, and I would like to see more people learn about what they did and the times, and I don't know, just encourage you to do something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone. Be a little spontaneous. Go around the world. I don't know.